Welcome back to another exciting edition of the Pointless Exercise Podcast. We have our old friend Jon Greenberg from The Athletic with us. John, how are you doing?
Pretty good. Pretty good. I'm working on a big column right now on, I talked to Devin Hester Jr., the Furman, the kick returner.
Oh, the fake Devin Hester Jr.
And his dad, the real Devin Hester. He claims he's the real Devin Hester because he was born before him.
Yeah, I can believe that.
He was working at a Kubota factory when I talked to him. Slightly different than, the other Devin Hester's lifestyle of like racing, like jet skis all day.
It is crazy that there is a Devin Hester Jr. who is a kick returner, and he is not the son of Bears Hall of Fame kick returner Devin Hester.
Correct.
Well, that's good. I like that. Good idea. But yeah, I wanted to broadcast live from the Yeti Yard, but I couldn't get it cleared with Crane. So we had to do this remotely. Now, you just said you were at the game, so you missed the exciting broadcast live from the Yeti Yard.
I did. Yeah, my daughter, for some reason, wanted to go to the Cubs game. She had it in her head, and she wanted to go to the press box. And she's 12. I don't know why. She never asked to go to games. And so I was like, all right, I took her. She was really happy to meet Sahadev. She could not remember his name the whole game.
Sure.
She kept calling him different names. I let her work the scoreboard with Quick Rick Fuchs.
Oh,
I always
nice.
take people up there. And Rick is the nicest guy in the world, probably the nicest employee the Cubs have. And the only runs the Cubs scored was when my daughter was working the board.
Oh,
so how about that?
You have to bring her back.
I am.
How long has he been doing that?
I've asked him before and I forget it. I mean, it's decades he's been doing that.
One of my first memories of going to a Cub game, my brother's older than me, and I remember us sitting there and he's like, all right, try to watch the pitch and then immediately look to the scoreboard and see if you can see it change. And it wouldn't. He would beat us every time. The ball, you'd look up and the ball was already up on the board. It's pretty good.
And he works he works in the grounds crew before the game.
Of course.
So he's there earlier, setting out the field. He's just the nicest guy. Just a real cool dude. So my daughter was like delighted to do that.
That's cool. Well, and I didn't see a lot of it either because Oleg and I had a podcast during the game, but I saw the beginning of it and I could tell what was going on. I was monitoring it while we were doing it. It was Alex Cohen and Cliff Floyd, because why not? And Alex said the words Yeti Yard at least 1,000 times in the first 2 innings, at least. And their first celebrity guest, you'll never guess, was the CEO of Yeti. It was a 2.5-hour commercial for the Yeti Yard and for Yeti. And so here's my theory. The Cubs played in Colorado on Sunday. They got back for an afternoon Labor Day game. Boog did the game on TV.
Yeah.
Tuesday, no Boog. Figured, well, I must have decided, I don't know why he did the Labor Day game, but he's Wednesday, Boog again. He just didn't want to do the Yeti Yard. I don't blame him.
You know what's ironic? Is the only Yeti store in Chicago is closed. It was a disgrace because it replaced the Double Door in Wicker Park,
God.
the famous music venue.
Yeah.
And so everyone was, it's like a sign of the apocalypse. So obviously like a Yeti store replacing the famous Double Door. And I don't know when it replaced it, but it's closed now. Because who was going to Wicker Park to get Yeti stuff? Like it didn't make any sense. Like what a dumb place to put it. So yeah, I think you're probably dead on that Boog didn't want to go.
I mean, if he hadn't done the Labor Day game and came back Wednesday, I wouldn't have thought anything of it. But even more, I guess, impressively, Taylor McGregor did Notre Dame Miami Sunday night for ESPN, and she worked the Labor Day game at Wrigley.
I thought that was amazing. I saw that too, and I'm like,
why? Good for you, Taylor, but why?
She's taken off a ton because she went to Ireland too, so they might have just schedule wise, she might have had to do it.
Yeah,
But good for
that
I mean, that
she's
was
out of she's out of vacation days.
right. Although, I mean, I think she should have earned vacation days when she was on that stupid kayak for an
Yeah,
entire game. That
for an
was,
entire game. That was
I made my usual snarky comment on it, but like literally, I think everyone thought it was like universal. The replies were like, "Can they just show the and nothing against Taylor
yeah.
and nothing against Boog, but
No,
like, can they just show the games? Like that's it's the pennant race now. I mean, not a pennant
yeah.
race, but like it's crunch time. Like no one needs the shtick. They just want to watch baseball.
I thought they'll go to a couple times early in the game, then they can drag her ass out of the kayak,
Yeah,
and that they didn't. They
no.
left her in it.
And I was like watching on mute. My wife was watching like Summer I Turned Pretty or something on her computer. And so I was watching on mute and like I was just like, wait, what's going on here? Why are these long shots of the kayak? Is there a game going on? Isn't there a pitch clock? Like what's going on here?
Yeah. No, their coverage is very odd, to say the least.
Yeah.
I don't know what Marquis thinks they're accomplishing, but it's just all strange. So Kyle Tucker served his little timeout. Had to sit facing the wall in the dugout for 3 games in the Milwaukee series, and that cured him. He came back, started hitting again, and now he has strained his calf, so he's probably done for the season. First, it's we're just going to rest him on Wednesday. We have an off day Thursday. He'll be back in the lineup on Friday. Friday, it'll be he's close, a couple of days. Then a week will go by, and it's we're going to just precautionary. We're going to put him on the injured list. Only has to be a few more days, and then next year he's playing for the Mets. So that'll be fun.
Who returns first, him or Luis Robert with the White Sox, who like pulled something again?
Yeah. I would think looking at the standings, Luis is like, all right, I think I'm done.
Yeah. See, I was there when that happened. I was like, oh, he's not coming. We're not seeing him I was there that game. I'm like, we're not going to see
He
him
didn't go
again
to
in
the
uniform.
clubhouse. He just limped off the field, got in his car, and drove away in full uniform.
Right.
Throwing pieces of uniform out the sunroof as he's driving.
That's not to hijack the conversation, but that's going to be a funny one. This, like, people are like, oh, they have to pick up his option now. I'm like, they do probably, but they're not going to get anything out of it. Like the idea that Luis Robert's going to get them any kind of prospect was literally proven false. Like, pretty recently that he's going to get them something. He's not going to get them something because they want something in return. They're not going to get $20 million worth of value or however much it is, and if they did, then they have to pick up the whole salary, which might be the only way they do it is if they pick up everything but the minimum. And then they'll get like one mid-level prospect. But anyway, enough about that. No one cares.
No, nobody does. Jeff Passan said the other day, now the Cubs are back in. He thinks they're the odds-on favorite to sign Kyle Tucker. And I was like, he hasn't been that bad.
Yeah. What's funny is I never thought Tucker was, the salary stuff kept ballooning, right? Like, he's getting at least 5 or then it's maybe 6. And I remember talking to someone like an exec, and they were like, be careful with that stuff because people assume because one guy gets or 2 guys get that money that it's going to keep escalating for everyone. He goes, it doesn't really work that way. I've always felt Tucker was going to get something in the 4s, and that's probably still realistic.
Yeah. Well, it's almost like because Shohei got $700 million. I forgot. I don't think Kyle pitches. And then Soto got 765. They're like, well, clearly, I mean, Tucker's worth at least $500 million. It's like, he's not Juan Soto. He's not.
Right.
He's
exactly.
good. He's really good, but he's not the same. And then that was the thought that because he struggled, well, maybe that, maybe he falls into the price range the Cubs are more comfortable with. The pessimist, I can be a pessimist. I don't know if you know that.
Yeah.
Is like now they're like half the fans don't even want us to bring him back, so now we're covered. Remember he kind of stunk. That's why we didn't bring him back. Here's Owen Casey. Congratulations. Enjoy that for the next 8 years. That'll be fun.
Yeah. I heard Tom Ricketts had a plausible deniability party at his mansion.
But I don't know. I mean, there's no financial reason other than They just don't want to not really try hard to bring him back, considering A, you have the money, B, after next year, the only guy you're paying is Dansby. Like,
well, they're going to pick up Shohei's like option. He has like a 3 years they can pick up this year, right?
Or Shota. If it was Shohei, I would do that. I would pick that option up. I didn't know that was a thing. That's in his contract? Okay, after 2 years, the Cubs can just pay you. Really? But Shota still doesn't make that much money. That contract is a sweet contract. I think when it turns out he was good.
Isn't it like 3 years for like 65 or 58 or something like that? Yeah.
And then
it's something in that range.
And there's the weird thing, like if the Cubs can just pick it up and lock him in for 3 years.
Right.
If they don't, then he can pick up his option for a year, which pays him pretty good. And then then they get another crack at it after next year.
But like Jed said, one of Jed's, when he was angling for his new deal, is that one of the things he kept saying is that he's left the books in really good. The Cubs' books are in good condition.
Yeah.
I mean, like you said, he has Dansby, which is like half a sunk cost. I mean, great defensively. I mean, you do not want to see him. You don't want to see him up in any kind of important situation. No, you don't.
We saw it last night, and it's like, this isn't going to end well, and it didn't.
No, whenever he comes up and there's like runners on, you're just like, you start like, and I go out and get something to drink if I'm at the press box.
Yeah.
Go on Twitter, like, you don't have to pay attention.
Well, and that was Sam Miller was talking about how this was earlier in the year when they, on their podcast, they were like assigned a team every once in a while. It's like, we're all going to watch the Cubs this week and we'll talk about it next week. So they did. And they're like, they're good, but they're built completely wrong. Like they're full of the kind of free agents that most teams are like, no, we don't sign that guy. The kind of the mid-tier guy that you have to, you pay him more per year than you're comfortable with, but because he's only a mid-tier guy, then you have to sign him for fewer years. Jamison Tyone is like the perfect example of that.
Right.
And they're like, most of these guys, they don't work. And you're far better off finding somebody almost as good as them, far cheaper, and then going after a couple of really, really good players and paying them. But the Cubs are like built out of just like the free agent mediocrity. And then they went out and got Kyle Tucker, and then things worked. But that's why the books are, the only guy they could work a contract extension out was Ian Happ, because he was the one who would take 3 years. But then they had to give him a no trade for some reason.
That didn't make any sense. I was kind of surprised when they did that, because I always was under the impression, I mean, I think Mooney wrote it at one point, like they've been trying to trade Ian Happ since they drafted him. I was kind of surprised that that they did that. It was like a desperation move. Like, we have to do something.
Like Jed standing there going, somebody finally take my money. And Ian's like, I'll take it. But the no trade clause, I mean, his agent deserves a hug for that. It's like, that contract, the $20 million a year is a no trade clause. Like, you didn't need to actually put a no trade clause on it. Who else is going to pay him $20 million? And all it did was it locked them in where they couldn't like trade him and just kick in some money for salary and get something back for him. But
wasn't there like a
told on Marquee? I was just they were told on Marquee that he's a star. He's a Gold Glover.
The Gold Glover, the Gold Glove left fielder.
Yes,
that's like the ultimate in oxymorons.
Yeah. If you
my daughter
good at,
he's one guy my daughter actually knows, because we were at Trivoli Tavern for her birthday this year, and Ian Happ was there. He was
your waiter
at the bar. He was at the bar and people saw him. He was actually doing.
Would you like to try the coffee? What? No. What? Let's go sit down.
He was actually taping a podcast from the banquette next to us.
Everyone was falling asleep in all the booths around it.
When I have you turn the game on, like you've left it on Marquee after watching a game, then you turn it on, and then there's the podcast. It is an insane production. Like, one guy's up like this.
Yeah.
And camera, and it's the least exciting conversation ever. Like, no one's, because Ian's very, even I don't know what the word to describe him.
Monotone?
Monotone would be good. And the other guys are as well. And it's just, I mean, I guess it's better than the Chuggo guy who was trying to get Dansby's wife to whatever. But still.
That whole thing, that was, I had people ask me, like, was it a fireable offense? I'm like, well, I guess a chuggo, but really it's let's get this money off the we don't have to pay Cody Del Mundo. He basically gave them an excuse to just ditch his salary. Like, oh, good, he's gone. Oh, that's terrible what you said. No, you're fired. What?
What's a worse way to get fired? For like, I don't even know how to describe it without like whatever he said about Dansby's wife. To get fired for that, or to be Dan Bernstein and get fired for like yelling at a guy about a fish.
Yeah. Yeah, I read your story with Dan.
Yeah.
I mean, the one thing he's been, and that's very Dan, he's been very upfront. It's all my fault. I screwed up. I deserve to get fired. You know, it's very Dan. But yeah, it was, and he talked about it. I watched a little bit of his first podcast, and he basically talked about how even for him, he was overreacting to everything at that point.
Yeah.
And it's clearly, he goes, there's something wrong with me. He goes, I basically got fired for yelling at a guy for telling me I caught an illegal fish.
You know what's great about that guy who I think I blocked or I muted him. Like, he responded to me on Twitter after like something. I think it was when I don't even know. It was before I wrote this column. And he was like, he demanded an apology. He demanded a retraction because in a previous column about the score, I referred to him as a Twitter troll. And he wanted a retraction for that.
He wanted to be called an ex-troll? Is that he was mad that you used the old?
Yeah. He was like really upset about it. And I want to be like, well, what do you call that? You started a fight with a guy. And you called him like a liar about whether or not he threw a fish back.
Yeah.
Like, just an idiot. Should I call him an idiot? Like, just a jackass?
Yeah.
I don't know. What a weirdo. What a stupid. Anyway, 2 stupid ways to lose your jobs.
Yeah. We should have done a very heartfelt apology. One of my favorite in all the Lee Corso coverage we had to endure last week, I did like Lee, was when he famously swore on the air and he threw the SMU thing away and grabbed the thing, was them telling the story about how he had to apologize and how many times they had to re-record the apology because he couldn't make himself look like he was
apologetic.
Sad. Like, yes, he was basically smiling too much. Like, Lee, you have to look like you're taking this seriously. Like, what?
You know, one time I was at Big Ten Media Days when I was in college because I was like helping someone out with their coverage, and Lee Corso was like the speaker at the lunch, and he just kept ripping Indiana football, and Cam Cameron was like so uncomfortable because Lee was just like torching the program of how like useless it is and how much they suck and making fun of him, and Cam Cameron just did not. I just remember Cam was not happy with being up there with that.
That's great. So we'll see what happens if Kyle ever comes back. It'll be nice if he does.
Yeah, what do you think? What's your prediction?
If it's a season-ending calf injury? Or you mean if he comes back in the offseason?
Yeah,
if he
comes back in the offseason.
I have no faith that they'll pay him. I think they'll want to just be close and show up at the Cub convention. We made a really strong offer, but it'll be basically the same kind of thing as my favorite press. It wasn't really a press conference. Basically, just right after the trade deadline, Jed explaining to the media about how we really tried to get somebody, but we couldn't. And then Bruce interrupting him to congratulate him on his extension. And he's kind of looking at him like, Bruce, like, now is not the time. No, thank you, but no, don't do that. By the way, congratulations. Like, shut up. No, please stop that.
That's I was there. That was one of the most awkward press conferences. I'll say that Jed was unhappy that he had to stand at a podium. He thought he was just going to be like standing around and we would just kind of sit around him and chit chat. And he goes, really? A podium? He's like, really? I have to do a press conference after this?
But that's okay. When Tucker leaves, then they have their choice. They can, of 2 prospects that at the trade deadline nobody else wanted, Owen Casey or Kevin Alcantara, to play every day out there. And I know there were prospect perverts who were like, oh, thank God they didn't trade those guys. They're going to be stars. It's like the deadline told you that no other team thinks that because they wouldn't give them anything for them.
No one. Right. We said Carter was busy hugging both of them at the deadline. He just had his arms around both.
Well, Well, but the best thing about it is, like, the most important thing is the 2032 Cubs, and they're still intact. They survived the purge that would have happened at the deadline.
I like Carter, and I feel bad for using it as a punchline, but I'm not gonna. I can't not use it as a punchline because, like, I generally like the guy because it's such a punchline to use over and over. 2032. I mean, it's just too funny.
Yes, I never go to the Marquee website unless I'm somewhere where I need to somehow access like the game. But I do enjoy reading. They run all the headlines of the stories on the crawl during the games for some reason. If somebody's going to be like, "Oh, I'm going to go to the website and read that," yeah. But they had one for like 2 days was basically explaining the controversial comments about the 2031 Cubs. I'm like, oh, good. They had to clean it up on the website to explain what Carter meant. Like, for God's sakes.
Oh, God. They were so funny. Everyone had so many good jokes about it. I mean, that's just like teams should use that, like, when they have like GM interview type stuff at the winter meetings. They should use that as like what not to say when you get these jobs.
Carter's fine though. People aren't going to remember it. It's not like 30 years later people are still mocking Dave Wannstedt for all the pieces are in place.
Yeah, no, it's fine.
Yeah, that'll live on forever. Congratulations, Carter. The one thing you'll be remembered for, it's that. Good job. Petecrow is currently on. He's doing his timeout right now.
Mm-hmm.
And it kind of made me wonder if it seems like the only move the Cubs have when a guy struggles is to publicly announce that they're giving him a few days off. It's like, really? Would we have to tell everybody? But it also kind of makes me wonder, and I guess if you looked at the bench, you would know why. Maybe Craig could have given some of these guys a day off once in a while before now. Pete played all but 1 inning in center field in the first half. All but 1 inning. It's like, I know your bench sucked, but,
the bench really did suck.
Even for a frisky 23-year-old, this is kind of a grind. You might want to buy him a day here or there.
Yeah, I mean, he's just worn out completely. I mean, it was every day is just like this, people trying to talk to him. And then after the All-Star game, the Major League Baseball took over his PR. That's what a big deal he was. They took over his PR like he was Shohei.
Are they giving it back now?
Yes, now it's back.
Yeah, after an 0 for 36, like, you know what, Pete? I think you're good. Call us maybe next year.
But like our phone's not really ringing off the hook with this stuff anymore.
But the bench now is really good. It's very versatile. It has 2 40-year-olds on it and a backup catcher and Willie Castro. And I guess that's really Kevin Cantara right now until Miguel Amaya comes back, in which it will always have 2 catchers and 2 40-year-olds on it. So Craig is like, well, all right, I guess no moves to be made again. What does Ryan Flaherty do? What does your bench coach do when there's no bench?
I mean, Justin Turner's veteran leadership has to be pretty good. That they picked up Carlos Santana and kept him. I can't believe they kept him. How do you have 2 40-year-olds on your team?
And I never thought there was a chance that Carlos was the Turner replacement. I'm like, oh God, they're just gonna. It's like, is George Allen the coach? We got the over the hill gang, except it's on the bench. But their skill sets are entirely different. One of them can play first base, and the other can kind of play first base, and that's it. And one's a switch hitter, and one's not. That's great. And also, like, the picking up Aaron Savali. And then he immediately comes in and throws 3 scoreless innings in a game that they come back and win. And the Bleacher Nation guy said the deal's now a complete success. It'll never not be. And I was like, you do know he's going to pitch again, right? Like, he could still give up 8 runs in an inning and cost them at the game that he supposedly saved them. Right? It doesn't work that way. You can't bank it forever.
You haven't talked about the addition of Billy Hamilton.
Where is Billy? Does he have to go to Iowa, or does he just hang out at home in case somebody gets hurt and then he just shows up?
I don't know.
But I love the fact that the article that announced it pointed out that he had been playing in the Mexican League. And I immediately thought, well, it's just like Jake Taylor.
Jake Taylor, right.
Taylor, what are you doing back here? I couldn't hack it in the Mexican League. Well, he's former Cub Billy Hamilton. So thank God. I mean, he's already.
Right. He's a little young, though. He's 34. Like, is he going to be able to fit in with the vets on the bench? Does he have anything to talk about with Turner or Santana?
I like that every day there's a Joe Ross the other day, too. It's like every day there's a new bum that Jed was like, okay, I didn't do anything at the trade deadline, but look at this. Look how busy I was the last day of August. Congratulations. Very nice. And it's not true. He didn't do nothing at the trade deadline. I mean, he picked up a vagrant. That's Andrew Kittredge.
There's no way Andrew Kittredge is a day under 50. He is the oldest fucking 30-something I've ever seen.
When Travis Wood pitched for the Cubs, I always used to joke that he lived in the bullpen, that they would just have to wake him up before a game. That's a joke. I think Andrew Kittredge probably actually does have a cot, especially the bullpen now because it's under the bleachers.
Right.
And it's very cozy for him there. That's great. And then they got Mike Soroka. It turned out great. That was an excellent move. They got 2 innings out of him. That was fun.
They got who's the other guy? They got
Taylor
to Rogers. He's been great.
Especially last night, just pouring gasoline all over when they lost the lead. And Willie Castro, who somebody pointed out he was the best bat traded at the trade deadline. Like, well, that doesn't mean anything. Also, it's also because Rafael Devers got traded a month early. That was why Willie Castro was the best bat traded at the trade deadline, other than the guy who can actually hit.
Do you know Taylor Rogers' ERA with the Cubs? 6.75.
Well, here's the thing: if you're looking at his stats, he's been really good everywhere he's been, except 2023 with the Brewers, and now. So it's clearly a Craig thing. He just hates Craig Counsell. Fuck it, hit it. I don't care. The pointy nose manager, he's a jerk. I'll go somewhere else next year. I'll be good again.
Yeah, it's not the best trade deadline ever for a contender.
No, but they did. The moves he made, except for the Soroka one, which the guy had just gotten an MRI just for his own edification. That's what the Nats announced. We just wanted to make feel better about it. Like, what? No. All the deals were okay. Like, they did need bullpen and they needed a bench guy. That's fine. But then but that's like, you're supposed to do all that stuff plus the big moves.
Right, exactly.
But now there's already people going, well, they tried to trade for Mackenzie Gore and he's hurt. And they tried to trade for Edward Cabrera and he's hurt. So see, it wouldn't have worked. It's like, that doesn't excuse them not doing anything. Sorry. You can't just look at it 2 weeks later and go, yeah, everybody got hurt. It wouldn't have worked anyway. It's not how it works. Speaking of not working, the Bears play on Monday night. Oh, I'm kidding. That's terrible. You've been around Ben Johnson. What do you think of Ben?
There's nothing not to like, I mean, we'll see how he coaches, but like he seems like a semi-normal person. He's not full of shit. He's not a moron trying to act smart. Like, he's actually generally a smart guy. Seems like he's got a bit of a red ass, but in a good, and Cole Kmet said it. He's like a red ass, but he's player, like, focused. He's not trying to be a red ass to make himself like a big deal, like, because he's insecure. And that's what you see a lot when these insecure coaches who need to feel better about themselves. He just wants to see like good football. And the Bears haven't had they've had coaches with a bit of that, but they haven't. I think he could be the best. Like, saying he could be the best Bears coach since Lovey is not like the tallest bar to surpass.
No, it's not. There've been quite a bunch after that. Yeah, it's funny. He's a red ass with a heart of gold, as opposed to Dan Rauschar, who's just a red ass to be a red ass. I have a friend whose brother played for Dan in college and said he was the guy who would yell at players who were sitting out with concussions that it wasn't a real injury. Good.
That's like basically every offensive line coach should be like, every offensive line coach should be the kind of person that's like completely unemployable if it wasn't for football.
Right.
Like they would be managing like a gas station if it wasn't for football. Because it's not a real, it's like a job where you're just telling people like, hey, do this, you're never going to be able to walk red again.
Right.
But if you don't do it like this, you're a pussy, basically.
Yeah, pretty much. That's exactly what it is. I will say, as a fan, the nicest thing about having Ben is, unlike his predecessor, you're not cringing when he talks at a podium
No.
or you're not worried, oh my God, what awkward thing is he going to say they're going to have to clean up? You just have an articulate adult who knows what he wants to say and says it. He gives you confidence when you
we haven't like made fun of him at all. Like, there's nothing to make fun of. He doesn't say anything cringy or stupid, really. There's no acronyms. Like, is it going to work? I don't know. It depends on the players. I mean,
right.
The big issue is that his boss, the person in charge of getting talent, is still Ryan Poles. And while I think Ben Johnson obviously influenced a lot of his picks, Ryan Poles still has to make them, and still has a lot of power. Obviously, he's the general manager, and I just don't think Ryan's shown that he's very good. So that's a bit of an issue.
But Ryan he's got Kevin Warren. He can go talk to Kevin.
It's true.
He needs.
He's got Kevin, and Kevin is obviously a dynamic decision maker and negotiator, as evidenced by the stadium that's already under construction.
Right on the lakefront
in Arlington Heights. Yeah. Oh yeah, on Lake. The lakefront one's so funny because
the pivot was so fast. They just went one day from we're still focused on that to the very next day. Well, we own this beautiful piece of property in Arlington Heights, and why would we'd be morons not to build on it? Like, yeah, why did you just piss away a year that everybody knew? What everybody knew, you were going to have to eventually build at Arlington Heights.
And I've heard people still say that, like, this was all negotiation by him. It wasn't.
No.
Like, I've talked to people that work there. They said he would talk about nothing but the city. Like, he wouldn't even brook like conversation about the suburbs. It was, he wanted to stay in the city because he wants to live in the city.
Yeah,
and
he doesn't have to drive to Arlington Heights.
No, and he believes, after his success in Minnesota, like, in the idea of like the city and the team like benefiting each other, which is fine. I agree with it too. Like, I don't think when the Cubs said they were going to move to Rosemont, it was like a joke. Yeah. Like, you can't do that unless you're in Atlanta, which we know why some of those people don't want to be in the city. Exactly. I think it's very transparent what was going on there. But like, in a city like, you don't leave Chicago to go to these suburbs because none of them are near each other. Like, the only one, and this one makes sense. I mean, it's football. People will drive for these Bears games. So it's fine. Like, build the stadium. Like, the idea that it's not done yet is like, I know. So like, I did talk to someone involved that said, listen, part of it was, while the taxes don't seem like a big deal, the amount of money you had to get for tax certainty, with the school districts and stuff, I was told that it is just to get that deal done, the banks need a number. The banks can't just say like, oh, well, we know it won't be that much. So that was an issue, but that is an issue that could have been solved like pretty quickly if you would have like put your focus on it and said, no, we need to get this done now. This is our focus. Right. Let's get this done first and we'll talk about everything else. And instead they're just, meeting with the reverend or the minister who wanted to pray for the Bears. I mean, that was just I talked to people involved and they were just like, what a fiasco. Like, it
was amazing. That's even in Chicago, that's a memorably ridiculous press conference. One of the best.
Oh, I wish I would have. I'm so mad I didn't go. I went to Angel Reese's welcome press conference at Saks Center instead because like Kevin was going and I'm like, I'm right here. It's right by my house. I don't need to go. I didn't realize it was going to be like, a memorable fiasco.
Well, have you been to the stadium in Minneapolis?
Yeah,
U.S.
a couple
Bank
times.
Stadium.
Yeah,
it's really nice, right?
Yeah, it's really nice. And
couldn't Kevin just save a bunch of time? He's got to have a copy of the blueprints, right? Like, he kept a copy. Just wheel us out and go, all right, here's our new stadium. We're just going to build this one in Arlington Heights. Like, okay, good. We're good. Think of it's years of planning you'd save. Just,
I guess that part's
scratch the name off.
Remember,
like, they actually do know the stadium.
Yeah. Last year at Hard Knocks, remember they were just they were designing what the chairs and the field suite were going to look like. Right. Remember? Were they going to be high back? It was high back chairs or low back.
It's more. What was the French word he used to describe which one was more? It wasn't. Oh, I forget. I never thought I'd forget it.
And
He
then
had to throw out one big word. It's like, oh, Kevin, just stop it.
and then the woman in charge is like, I was just talking to Lil Durk about this. I'm like, hey lady, guess what? Lil Durk doesn't need to worry about the sweet chairs anymore.
Oh, I know what it was. He wanted to know whether the high chairs or low chairs had more panache. That's what he wanted to know. It's like, okay. And we talked about it last year, but I was amazed how little of him there was in Hard Knocks. I just assumed.
I'm shocked. I thought it was going to wake up with him, sleeping. It was going to start with him sleeping and getting up.
Yeah. Yep. They had the staged reenactment of him learning about the DJ Moore contract, where he asked a bunch of questions about the contract, which clearly was done just for the cameras. Okay. And then they did give him his little stadium thing, which was, inevitable. But otherwise, there just wasn't a lot of Big Kev, which...
The DJ Moore one was very funny, I remember, because it was like him looking through the contract and being like, so we're paying him annually, right? But he's going to... It was like the most basic questions.
That's how these work.
So if he gets hurt, does he still get paid? Yes, Kevin. Okay, good.
Does he have to sign and initial in these places? Yes, Kevin, he does. Okay. Middle initial or just first? Just DJ's initials? Did you just put DJ? Or does he have to put DJ M? Kevin, you don't need to talk about this. Okay. This is good stuff. If you watch the Bills Hard Knocks this year, that you craved 5 minutes of Kevin Warren looking at DJ Moore's contract.
I heard it was terrible. I heard it was like unwatchable. I didn't hear anyone talk about it.
They did a good 5 minutes on Mitch, though, which was fun.
Oh, did they?
Yes. And how he was struggling to keep his job against Mike White. And I don't know if it was the White Lotus guy or if it was the former Jet, but Mitch did fight him off and he kept his backup quarterback job.
Did they show Mitch do it? We joked that like Mitch's wife, just her whole life is like photo shoots with the family because they have little kids, and like she just has a lot of like seasonal photo shoots. So we said that's basically all Mitch has to do now is just know enough of the playbook and then just be ready when his wife wants to take like pictures of them with like pumpkins or like a turkey. He has a good life. Listen, it sucks. I feel bad for him that didn't work out, but like. He got a big payday up front.
Yes, he did.
And he'll get paid, a couple $1 million for the next few years.
Yep.
And he lives in Florida. He's going to golf. You would be a great neighbor. Like if Mitch was your neighbor, you'd be like thrilled. Same with Mike Glennon. Mike Glennon's bright.
I would be freaked out by Mike because you just see his head popping over the fence all the time when he's in the backyard and be like, why is there a giraffe? Oh, it's Mike Glennon. I forgot. Is there a petting zoo next door? Why is there a giraffe in the yard?
Mitch would have some fun stories, at least.
Yeah, I'll bet he does. We got some good Matt Nagy stuff. Still waiting for that second chance for Matt because, when he gets his second crack at it, he's going to be so much better. It's like, no, he's not. He's in the perfect job. He's the offensive coordinator for an offense where the offensive coordinator doesn't have to do anything. It's the perfect job. Just win Super Bowl rings. Just ride Andy Reid.
That is such a great gig. That's such a great gig to be the OC, and you're not responsible for anything.
Just ask Declan Doyle.
Yeah,
he's going through it right now too.
Yeah,
you're basically a translator. Ben tells you what to tell. You got a quarterback meeting now. All right, tell the guys this, and you go in there and you do that, and then you get paid. It's fun, and he'll end up as a head coach somewhere, and then they'll be like, Jesus, I thought this guy knew something, but he doesn't. What are our I was going to ask you this. I know you did the column where you talked about you've got the like the props, like Caleb throwing for 4,000 yards. Will Caleb finally be the first Bear to throw for 4,000 yards? Would be the first Bear to throw for 30 touchdowns. But I don't know if you saw these on DraftKings. Would plus 10,000 Caleb to break the regular season passing record of 5,478 yards by Peyton Manning. It's like, so they've never had a 4,000 yard passer, but Caleb's just going to break the all-time record this year. Sure, why not? And you can get plus 15,000 that he'll break the Peyton's passing touchdown record of 56. So I have bet the mortgage on both. So I'm going to be rich. I can't wait.
Oh, that's a good retirement strategy.
So I'm cautiously looking forward to Monday. Like, I do think
Yeah.
I think they'll be much more fun to watch than they've been because they'll run an actual, like, modern NFL offense. What I'm not ready for is the overreactions if, God forbid, Caleb take a sack. We
Right.
lived through that from the Kansas City preseason game where they dissected one play for like 20 minutes. And it's like, yes, he missed Cole coming across, and by the time he got to Rome, he got sacked. Right? How long are we going to talk about this?
Yeah.
I just wonder, like, what. So, like last year, when all this shit was going sideways, and everybody's like, why don't they? It's ridiculous that they kept the Flus and they brought in Shane Waldron, and why wouldn't you just go get the offensive genius to work with the quarterback? That's what they need to do next year. They got to go find the best guy, and then that guy's got to challenge Caleb, and Caleb might struggle a little bit, but he's going to be better for it. And then they go out and do it, and then the talk immediately becomes, after like 4 practices, I don't think this is going to work. It's like, can we, I know we're Bear fans and it's the Bear media, but could we ever possibly take a step back and go, oh, I don't know, maybe let's see a month of this before we all jump off the bridge if he's struggling?
Yeah, I don't know. I mean, I'm excited for the game Monday as well. So,
because for JJ McCarthy,
yes. But here's
to watch him hand off 40 times, that's going to be great.
Right. I know. I'm starting Aaron Jones in fantasy. Yeah, like that's going to be an interesting thing to see because on one hand, it's the Bears' first game. Minnesota, Brian Flores runs a great defense, aggressive defense. They're pinning their ears back to get at Caleb again. And on the other hand, you have a rookie basically a rookie starting on the road, which is never is never good. I guess that means take the under, probably. I mean, it's going to be close. I think the spread's 1.5.
Yeah.
Spread's 1.5. I mean, I would say it's going to be within 3 and take the under. But like, I think the Bears are going to have some really good. I think he's going to have some good stuff dialed up, and there's going to be a couple plays that are going to get, the chuggo types, high five until their hands hurt.
Yeah.
Their heads are going to explode with some of these creative plays, as opposed to the Shane Waldron offense, which. Really, and you're right, like what you were saying before, that's like such a great Bears hire. Shane Waldron made no sense to anyone. Not one person thought it was a good idea. And the great Ryan Poles signed off on that.
Well, but you had such a dynamic head coach at the time. It made sense to have a low-key offensive coordinator too, because you don't want those guys clashing. It's like, ugh.
Yeah.
Oh, well, it's better. We talked about it on a podcast earlier this week. It's better to have done it a year late than to have never done it at all.
That's the Bears motto.
It's pretty clear like one of the defining moments, obviously, of Theo getting the Cubs, finally win a World Series was Ricky Renteria has a encouraging season in 2014 as the manager. Like the players that weren't developing under Dale, who was threatening to send them back to Iowa, his only 2 good players, were playing better. Jake came up, all this stuff, but then Joe Madden unexpectedly becomes available, and the next thing poor Ricky gets is Jed ringing his doorbell. And it could have happened last year where the trade with Carolina works perfectly, and now you have the number 1 pick and you have the quarterback you wanted. You didn't want to take Bryce Young, so you traded out of it a year before. Now you're going to get Caleb, and Ben clearly wanted the Bears job. It's part of the reason that he told the Commanders, turn the plane around. I don't want to talk to you. And they're like, well, we're going to talk to Aaron Glenn instead, which is what they did. They interviewed him instead. But Poles didn't have that in him, and George also isn't I could see. Oh, he did we won 7 games. Yeah, well, this doesn't solve any of your problems. Bringing him back one more year, and so I guess for the Bears, they got lucky that they waited a year, and the guy was still there, and still wanted to come. Yeah, and now we'll find out if it works.
Right, that's the key. Is he really wanted the job? Like I remember covering that game last year with the. God, what was the play? What was the name of the fun play the Lions scored on?
Oh, Stumble Bum.
Right. And a friend of mine in the NFL texted me. He's like, gee, do you think the reason that he was watching Bears film from like 2 years ago is because he's been watching a lot of Bears film because he wants
Yeah.
the job. Like, it didn't just happen upon it because he's a genius, because he's watching film of the team that he wants a job for. I remember being in the locker. I was in the Lions locker room for that one during my brief stretch of talking to players about coaches the Bears could hire. I was all for Brian Flores, which would have been like obviously not smart for the Bears to hire him, because that's like exactly what they would normally do. But I did think he's like, I actually like his hard ass personality, and I think players respect him. It just didn't work because he thought Tua was a wimp, even though Tua was like dead, like almost gonna die because he's been hit in the head so much. But the Vikings players love Flores, so like I do think he's gonna give them some fits. He's gonna give Caleb some fits this week. We'll see if Ben Johnson can outmaneuver him though.
Well, I mean, Ben's got experience against him. Obviously, he's gone up against him twice a year. Every year he's been the coordinator. So
right.
Yeah, it will be fun to have the Bears back and to be able to overreact to the good and the bad and do all that other stuff.
Yep. I was really looking, before we close it out, I was really hoping that I was rooting for the Cubs to finish second in the wild card, because I'm going to be at Bears Raiders at the end of September, and then the following Tuesdays when the wild card starts, I could have just gone
fly
from Vegas
to San Diego.
Yeah, exactly. But now it looks like I think the Cubs have like a 4.5 game lead or something over San Diego, and like 5 over New York or whatever for that top wild card spot. So the Cubs are going to get it. They're going to host 3 wild card games, and then the season's going to be over.
Well, 2 at least.
At least 2. I think they win 1. They win Kate Horton's start if he pitches more than 5 innings.
They haven't scored more than 1 run in a postseason game since Jake beat the Dodgers when the only game they won in the 2017 NLDS.
NLCS, yeah.
NLCS, right? Because they beat the Nats. I told you, I think, right, that because I was doing the research, and it turns out to be true that Ian Happ has played in 8 postseason games for the Cubs, and they've never won one, despite the fact they've won 4 postseason games when he's been on the roster. So as long as they keep him, just bench him, and you're good. And it's the most of any Cub ever.
I'm going to ask him
winless
about that.
playoff games.
When I do my playoff preview, I'm for sure going to ask him that and see what he says.
Are you looking forward to finally playing in a winning postseason game, Ian? What? I wonder if he knows. I think at this point he thinks he played on the World Series team, because there's so many fans who forget and think he didn't. Like talk to him about 2016. That it's kind of like, remember the Brian Williams thing where he thought he was in the helicopter that got shot down and he lost his job, and there's this whole thing about how if you hear a story and repeat it, you start to believe it. I think Ian can tell you glorious stories of his exploits in the 2016 World Series Cubs.
It's like the joke they have on ESPN 1000 that Waddle was a member of the '85 Bears.
Yeah.
Because like someone on the radio, one caller once thought, because why else would a guy be on the radio if he wasn't on the '85 Bears?
Right. In Chicago, that's your requirement. All right. Well, we will. I think you're right. I think this hard. No matter how hard the Cubs try, certainly they can't miss the playoffs, and I think they're gonna have a hard time not hosting the first round.
Yeah,
so that's good. And then
because otherwise, if they didn't get that first round game, then Jed was probably gonna have to cut salary. He wouldn't even be able to add Kyle Tucker.
They didn't get those 2
beer
gates.
revenue. Right, they got to get the gates and the revenue from the beer. So now Jed can at least sign, pretend
just in case they've called the insurance company to see if they don't have to give Kyle his last check because of he's injured now, right? You guys pay that? No, that's not how that works. All right. Well, thanks, John.
All right. Yeah, no problem. Let's get on before the playoffs.
Many of us have herpes.
Post-game show is brought to you by Christ, I can't find it. The hell with it.
It's fitting. It's got to be done with one of the best games of all time. Just unbelievable. I mean, got to congratulate the Dolan family.
Thank you. Sean, my podcast co-host Andy, you were his favorite player growing up.
Oh, thank you so much.
Awesome.